These are some of the most absurd and unsettling pieces of lost and unreleased media, viral videos, games, and films that were scrubbed from the internet or faded into obscurity for its disturbing or disgusting content. And despite a few being resurfaced, it makes you wonder if they were just better off lost forever.
The two contaminated food shot this video of it and then posted it online. Police do not think it was a prank. They say they believe the food went to customers. We asked Domino's why the company let Hammonds, a registered seller, deliver pizza, a job which probably put her in contact with children.
In 2009, a YouTube channel by the name of White Air 2 uploaded a series of 5 viral videos, which would become infamous for early viral internet culture. The series included 2 employees from a Conover, North Carolina Domino's location, Christy Hammonds and Michael Setzer, filming themselves contaminating food and violating health codes, which left anybody who were able to see these videos either completely disgusted or somehow humored by the over-the-top grossed out nature of the videos. Christy would record Michael putting several items up his nose before placing it on the customer's sandwich, sneezing on food, along with doing other insanely gross things. The first video of the series would show Michael preparing a customer's order with a banana pepper in his nose, and the second video would show Christy filming Michael checking out a customer, as the first 2 videos of the series aren't what make it special. In the video Domino's Pizza Special Ingredients, it would again show Michael putting the customer's food up his nose, as he also proceeds to fart on the customer's salami.
We all have our secret ingredients. Yeah. See? Now he just farted on the salami that goes on these sandwiches. And in about 5 minutes they'll be sent out on delivery where somebody will be eating these. Yes, eating them. And little did they know that cheese was in his nose and that there was some lethal gas that ended up on their salami.
The video Sneeze Sticks, which would show Michael sneezing and constantly touching the customer's food, with Christy even saying something along the lines of the customer was in need of snot. But in my opinion, the absolute worst of the worst would be the third video of the series, where it shows Michael grabbing a dish sponge, wiping his bare ass with it, and then proceeding to wash used dishes with the same sponge. The videos became insanely viral, getting over 1 million views within the first 48 hours, which was a huge number for 2009 before it was taken down by YouTube. The videos gained a lot of media attention, with many articles, forums, and news reports talking about the incident. However, for over a decade, the original uploads of the videos were considered completely lost and were widely considered lost media because of Domino's and YouTube pretty much scrubbing their entire existence online. And what existed were small clips and fragments of the original uploads from the articles and news reports. Many people online would remember these videos and be curious about them still existing, but no one or community had ever gone on a search for the lost videos up until recently. Pretty soon after the videos had been taken down, the location of the North Carolina Domino's was found because of one of them using their real life name and their YouTube username, which was also tied to their other online accounts, including MySpace and Facebook, with people also using Google Maps, along with the public profile to trace the exact location. The 2 were both fired and arrested for the videos. Setzer and his colleague Christy Hammonds, 31, who shot the video and posted it online, both were arrested and charged with food tampering, a felony in North Carolina. The store at which they worked was shut down to be restaffed and disinfected, according to a company spokesman. On April 15, the 2 employees turned themselves in following a felony warrant filed by police and were charged with food contamination, which made them plausible for a jail sentence of 4 months to a year, with Setzer released the same day he was arrested. Christy would go on to say that all the videos were just pranks, and that none of the food that was ever contaminated was ever served to a customer, which still doesn't explain or help that Michael had wiped his bare ass with the sponge and then proceeded to wash dishes with it. After all the insane backlash that the company had received, the Domino's CEO was forced to appear in a formal apology video, trying to distance the company from the viral clips. And as for how the videos were found, a YouTuber by the name of SEIROZAN made the video Dominos Boogergate Lost Media, the disgusting story the internet forgot about, in 2024, and at the time of release, only 2 of the now 5 videos were available. Essentially him and his community going on a hunt for the lost videos. He would make a part 2 follow-up not long after the first upload, finding the last 3 gross videos, with the help of his community and people joining his Discord for the search. As this series will always serve as a very weird but obscure example of early viral online culture. To say Marilyn Manson is one of the most controversial figures in all of music would hold the same weight as saying the sky is blue and the grass is green. Marilyn Manson was born Brian Hugh Warner, an American singer, artist, actor, and the lead singer of his own rock band, which was very popular in the late 90s and early 2000s. Manson over the years has teased and talked about his unreleased work, with an entire list of unreleased projects available online. However, not a single one of these even come close to alluring as the lost film Groupie. Shot in 1996, during the Mechanicals Animal Tour, Groupie was reportedly filmed in Manson's home, which was all shot in one night, starring his bandmates and a few other of his close friends. The short film was meant to be included as a bonus on his Dead to the World Tour VHS, but was pulled last minute due to how extreme and violent it was, as this was also Manson's first attempt of actual filmmaking. The plot for the film is described as an actual party held at Marilyn Manson's home. Manson informs his guests that a girl will be attending who they will be videotaping. Before the girl's arrival, Manson is allegedly shown performing on Twiggy. When the guest arrives, she bestows Manson with a piece of art and is invited inside. From here, she is ushered into various acts, which include sharing a glass of urine with Madonna Wayne Gacy, who quote poured the glass himself, and being tied and taunted by Manson. And the whole point of the film is the young woman described as a groupie being subject to a series of increasingly violent and sadistic acts by Manson. And because of the film being pulled last minute, it was never released to the public, essentially making the film lost media. According to the Lost Media Wiki, many of the party's guests are said to have come away from the experience very shaken up, not knowing whether or not what had happened was legitimate or staged, though it has been suggested that the film consists of both legitimate and staged events, and that the actress portraying the groupie, while somewhat in the know, may have not been given all the details of the event prior to its occurrence. Only 3 people are confirmed as having seen the short: Manson himself, Andy Dick, and Manson's former manager, Tony Chula, the former 2 of whom discussed the short on a 2002 episode of Dinner for Five, and the latter of whom, after viewing the film, implored Manson to hide the masters, believing that if it were to be released, Manson would likely go to jail or end his career. Dinner for Five was a television program in which actor and film director Jon Favreau and a revolving guest list of celebrities would eat, drink, and talk. This was the first acknowledgement of the film, with Andy and Manson being on the show and talking about how disturbing the film was.
But it was before the thing in New York happened. So.
Right.
It's
like Chris.
I made this movie that I had intentions of putting onto my home video, not thinking that it would offend. I did it.
Okay. This girl shows up, and he lures her in. Then, slowly but surely, over time, and very subtly, he starts to get her to do certain things, and those are the things that, you know, maybe we shouldn't really discuss. But all my friends,
Did you get it distributed?
No, because when I showed it to my manager, he said, please hide the masters. If anyone sees it, she'll go to jail and your career will be over.
What's it called?
It was called Groupie.
Which only brought more attention and curiosity to the film, with a lot of people online also wondering if the film really did exist or if it was just for Manson's image. The final seconds of the Dead to the World Tour VHS is the only known footage available to the public, which shows Manson allegedly torturing the young girl and having her repeat the phrase, "Jesus loves me because the Bible tells me so," tying and her, with a gun being involved during some part of the film. Since Groupie never officially released, it was never widely discussed in mainstream media, and was treated more as a myth as the years went on. That was until 2021 to 2022, when we would surprisingly get a lot of information about the film. In early 2021, Manson would be accused of physical and sexual abuse by 16 different women, with his ex-fiancée Rachel Wood and her close friend Ilma Gore, alleging that the young girl in the film Groupie was a minor and that the footage of the film may have depicted real abuse or even death. Manson would deny the allegations of the girl being a minor, claiming that she was around 19 to 20 during the film, while also filing a lawsuit against both parties, claiming that the two were trying to destroy his image. In a separate case, an anonymous accuser referred to as Jane Doe also alleged Manson to sexual assault, physical and psychological abuse, forced drug use, and also alleged that Manson forced her to see the film. The woman Jane Doe was horrified by the film and believed that the young girl had died during filming, which would essentially make Groupie into a homemade film. However, that same year in 2021, former model Pola Weiss would come out in a video interview to sort of clear the air about the film, as she claimed that she was the actress Groupie portrayed in the film. She would claim that she was around 21 years of age and that Manson and her were dating around the time that Groupie was filmed. She also claimed that Manson and Joseph Kurtz, who directed the Dead to the World VHS, were both responsible for the project, with Joseph being the one who shot the footage, and that the film was completely consensual with all parties being adults.
From what I understand, from this, the lawsuit, from what I've heard, is people are running around saying, oh no, she drank his urine or something like that. I'm like, no, I didn't really drink pee. And I supposedly, I guess that I was supposed to drink pee and then I made him drink the pee. No, neither of us drank pee. I kind of was offended by the fact that I was basically being described by all these people as this person with no agency, who is this vulnerable victim and all this other stuff. It's like, no, that was a professional job for me. I got paid. You know, it was on the books. I got paid. It was all discussed ahead of time. I knew what I was doing going into it.
Most of the lawsuits were eventually thrown out due to lack of hard proof in 2024, with Manson dropping the case entirely and was ordered to pay over $300,000 in legal fees. Groupie remains unreleased. And despite the multiple different accounts of people claiming to see the film, it's still shrouded in complete mystery, and the likelihood of it ever being released is probably close to zero. The case of Elliot Rodger is one of the most documented mass killers online. His 137-page manifesto and series of YouTube vlogs made him pretty infamous. And a common occurrence with a case like his would not only be the massive amount of people completely sickened by the actions of the killer, but the small portion of people who would either idolize them or find what they did funny, and in their own way to glorify them, they would create a game based on the tragic event, such as, for example, the game VTech Rampage, which recreates the Virginia Tech shooting. These edgy flash games with mass violence were pretty commonly talked about on niche personal blogs and on forums like 4chan and Something Awful, with Newgrounds also hosting VTech Rampage. It was only a matter of time before a dev team made a game about the Isla Vista killer. A Reddit user by the name of Danny Desktop would post on the r/indie gaming subreddit and the r/gaming subreddit, which were both titled Elliot Rodger the video game, with a link to the trailer but is now dead, as it was terminated on YouTube years ago, and as far as we know, there's no archive for the original trailer available online. And if you try looking up any information about the game, you'll find pretty much nothing. The Reddit user Danny Desktop hasn't had any new posts since then, and the comments don't really give us any new insight as well. On the r/helpmefind subreddit, there was a post from 2 years ago titled, "Where can I find the Elliot Rodger Retribution video game?" After I saw a video of gameplay of the game, I was interested and decided to download, but there's no relevant topics about the game. Can someone please help? Where can I find the game? With the OP linking a TikTok of supposedly having gameplay, with the link being dead. I'm gonna assume you don't mean the dude that killed 6 people in 2014. Yeah, but the game I remember watching a video of a fan-made game, where Elliot killed a woman in a sorority house, then goes on a killing spree. I tried hours finding the game, but I came up to nothing. The OP would then repost the TikTok link. Yeah, that looks like an old school Newgrounds Prime era Flash game. You won't be able to find that. Sorry, bud. Because of the game's subject matter, once the initial shock had faded, it was probably quietly exiled from the internet a couple years after release, which makes it hard to find information and making it lost media. There were a few mentions of the game throughout the internet, with one of them being a thread about the game made on the Something Awful forum page, as the thread was made only a couple of days after the killings. Our team of sweatshop workers created an Elliot Rodger video game where people can know what it's like to be 22 and a virgin. Check out the trailer, enjoy it, and we will make more. Think this could get on Steam Workshop? Most of the comments from the thread mostly stem from people saying the game looks terrible. But a series of comments that I wanted to highlight would be from a user who not only watched the trailer, but went on the game's website that was linked to it. Wow, this website is really bad. Look at all these Mohammed pictures and MS Paint periods. You guys at Lollicos are some edgy 16-year-olds. The name Lollicos was also mentioned on a Reddit post in which Danny Desktop also commented on. But what exactly is it? Lollicos were a small group of game developers, artists, and musicians, which were known online for its extremely offensive material, along with its MS Paint gore and NSFW content on its website. The exact number of members and when it was founded is unclear, but they started making projects as a collective around the late 2000s, and they've made some pretty insane projects to say the least. The official website is now dead. However, the project that would get them the most controversy and media coverage would be for their game Boston Marathon 2013 Terror on the Streets, which would be covered by several news outlets calling the game tasteless, with the website New Qualitypedia describing the game and why it's terrible. The idea of making a game based on the Boston Marathon bombing is a really horrible idea, as the game ends up being offensive and unsettling for the families of the victims, Boston citizens, and American people in general. The fact that this game was originally posted at the website Lollicos, which is one of the most hideous and offensive websites ever created, doesn't help either. So it was pretty on brand for them to make an Elliot Rodger game. So knowing that the game does exist, we still didn't have any actual gameplay of it. But going on the now inactive Lollicos Twitter account, they would actually upload a screenshot of the game to promote it. The YouTuber Cobyy would also make a video going on a hunt for the game. This Elliot Rodger game was lost for 11 years until now, where he was able to find the dev's name from a thread on 4chan, and being able to find a playable version of the game using the Wayback Machine. With the game being fully accessible to the public, one of the members of Lollicos would actually surprisingly see the video and comment on it. You're damn right, this game sucks. I frequent the Lost Media Wiki and never ever noticed it on there before. Checking it now, it appears to be deleted. We bashed it out in like 2 nights, doing backgrounds and CMWC quote programming and doing other assets for it. We argued a lot about how crappy the game was. He was more into the LOL it's funny because it's crappy. It's gonna piss people off. Whatever, it's a sunk cost now. I'm committed, so I'll continue. I haven't spoken to CMWC or any of the other Lollicosters in a long time. Not out of malice. I guess we all just grew up and grew apart, deferring interests and politics and the like. There is plenty of other lost media related to Lollicos too. The Baby Stomper game demo, the Corbin Dork files, the My Furry Friend video, even news reports about us that I can't find anymore. The game itself is terrible, but the whole point of the game was to be terrible. It involves Elliot trying to as many girls as possible for a high score, while also getting in a car chase and killing himself at the end. The game has technically been accessible ever since it's been archived, but like many cases of lost media, even many infamous cases that were hidden in plain sight, lost media is lost media up until it's found, and honestly, I would have rather this one have been lost.